we're not a nation whose democracy should be modeled after. You know, we like to meddle in a bunch of other countries' business. What's going to stop someone like Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons tech? Okay, let's see how crazy the world's getting. Here's how crazy the world's getting. That Fox News is now an actual source of news. Here's what's nuts. Check this out.
Let's pretend for a sec that our country had a news media that was interested in bringing you the news, not in lecturing you about your moral inferiority. You're so bad. Or lying to you in transparently obvious ways. January 6th was an insurrection, guys. Or even in forcing you to repeat whatever childish slogan they've come up with this week. Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. Okay. Trans women are women. All right. Say it or else. Let's imagine instead that we live somewhere completely different, in a country where the media felt obligated to tell you what was actually happening in the world and why it matters. What stories would we be talking about right now if we lived in that country? Well, here are the first two. Earlier this month, Iran and Saudi Arabia, the two most significant powers in the Muslim world, announced that after generations of proxy wars and snarling hostility to one another, they will be resuming diplomatic relations.
Look at that.
Peace has broken out between blood enemies. As recently as last year, very few would have thought that could happen, and now it has happened. And it's happened, and here's a significant thing from an American perspective, it's happened because China, not the U.S. State Department, but the communist Chinese government, brokered the deal.
You know, if Saudi Arabia goes into the BRICS fold, and you have India, Egypt, Brazil, Russia, China, what's going to stop someone like Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons tech right through China and Russia, essentially taking a defensive posture in the world where they don't, egg on little proxy wars with extremists, and now they're protected, so their borders will never be threatened. It's like, would that or would that not bring peace to the Middle East, right? I mean, China just brokered a deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia, something we haven't been able to do in, God knows, since we overthrew Iran's government because we wanted oil. Isn't that crazy? They had a pretty secular society before we overthrew them. I don't think a lot of Americans even know we did that. We like to meddle in a bunch of other countries' business. Yeah. We're a Gaddafi people before you knew about Gaddafi getting Gaddafi'd by the Clintons.
World's largest atheist state has halted religious conflict between two theocracies. Did you see that coming? Probably not. But there's more. Yesterday, China's President Xi turned up in Moscow to announce a new partnership with Russia. Going forward, Russia will supply much of China's oil and natural gas.
Look at that.
Vladimir Putin also agreed to use Chinese currency in trade with Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Once again, holy smokes. As with the Iran-Saudi summit, very few people imagined anything like this could happen just 18 months ago. Quote, change that hasn't happened in 100 years, Xi said, is coming, and we are driving this change together. Now, what change was Xi talking about? Well, the end of American global hegemony, the end of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. For 100 years, he got it right, since the close of the First World War, the United States has been the preeminent nation on Earth. For 40 of those years, we were locked in a Cold War with the Soviet Union, of course. But at no time, no matter what they may have claimed, was there ever really a question about who was the most powerful country. We were the most powerful country. It was the American era. That era just ended a little over 2 years into Joe Biden's presidency. But amazingly, no one in this country seems to notice that it happened. That story is not leading the news tonight. Instead, we're arguing about whether or not to arrest Donald Trump for a fake crime to keep him from running for president again. Over at the White House, our senile president just gave some sort of medal to a sitcom actress, presumably for her bravery. You read those scripts so boldly. CNN is covering that story like it's the moonwalk. On Twitter, meanwhile, people seem excited that our vice president has sent a letter to a transvestite TikTok star called Dylan Mulvaney, who is famous for dressing like a 6-year-old girl. Kamala Harris is very proud of him. That's the news we're getting. It is Weimar, but dumber.
And then there's a news article that I'm trying to find right now where they're trying to get a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. And the article says that America is weary of the world's stomach, essentially, for war in Ukraine. So from what I've seen is that there was already a peace deal in the works before, and we basically killed that deal, obviously, for, let's just say, the military-industrial complex, something of the sorts. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. I just found the article. This is what's crazy, man. We've shifted in the world. we can no longer point the finger at anybody because we're the ones covered in shit now. It's a sad state to be in, dude. The hypocrisy is killing our ability to be world leaders. We're not a nation whose democracy should be modeled after, unfortunately. Let's see this. So I'll read you guys this because this ties in with the video. It's wild that headlines like this could even be made. Can you imagine things like this 30, 40, 50 years ago? This is where we're headed. And it says, funniest headline of the day, the U.S. fears that China's peace plan for Ukraine may actually work. Peace indeed is dangerous for America. Oh, look, Bloomberg. Can't even gotta subscribe to this piece of shit. Never mind, we're not reading it. All you need to know is from the headline, essentially. U.S. fears a war-weary world may embrace China-Ukraine peace bid. On what planet, bro? Do we honestly think this is a bad idea to not want more men dying senselessly? Is a peace deal on the table that bad? If you're in the military-industrial complex, I'm going to go with yeah. So what is there? An estimated 120,000, I saw from one politician, dead Ukrainian men. Another 100,000+, at least what the Western media tells us of Russians. So we have over probably 200,000 lives extinguished, men that didn't want to have anything to do with a territorial dispute that shouldn't even be happening at the moment. But okay. I just found your channel a few days ago, and I want to let you know that it saved my life and given me hope. I'm a senior in college. I was told how much men didn't matter and believed it. Man, oh man. Yeah, don't buy into that woke college shit, dude. Get through your 4 years. Well, you're almost done, right, senior? Yeah, you're almost done, bro. Just prepare for the woke workforce and always watch your six because you're a target for what's in between your legs. Isn't that crazy?